Чонгёнханын Чингудыл, Чонгёнханын Тонёдыл, Yorobun, Anyok Semnika. Dear colleagues and friends, first of all, I would like to emphasize to sincerely greet our conference organizers, the Universal Peace Federation for the Heavenly Unified Korea, headed by the Mother of Peace, Dr. Hakja Hanmun. I am encouraged by the fact that our important conference is being held with the direct participation and support of such famous political figures of our time as His Excellency Mr. Hun Sen, Prime Minister of Cambodia, and His Excellency former UN Secretary General Mr. Ban Ki-moon. As a lot has been said and written about the problem of unification of Korea. From our point of view, in the current situation, it makes sense to look at the problem through the prism of the presidential election campaign in the Republic of Korea. On who will win, the representative of the ruling political camp, Mr. Lee Jae-myung, or the leader of the opposition, Mr. Yoon Suk-yeol, will depend to a large extent the general line regarding both towards the North Korea relations and in perspective the main approach to the prospect for the unification of Korea during the next 5 years. As it is known, if we will of course simplify the policy review, then we will see that in the Republic of Korea there are two main conceptual approaches to Korean unification problem. The first one is so-called German variant, that means instant absorption of North Korea. And the second one means unification through a relatively prolonged period of peaceful coexistence of two Koreas and the enlargement of cooperation, gradual rapprochement and convergence. Traditionally, as it believes that the supporter of the first approach is the right-wing conservative political camp, whose representative today is Mr. Yoon Suk-yeol. And otherwise, the democratic camp of progressives, with its leader today in the person of Mr. Lee Jae-myung, supports the second line. The cost of absorption is objectively fraught with high risk of aggravation of the situation right up to the big war. The course otherwise, contrary, the course of the former President Kim Dae-jung, Roh Moo-hyun, and the present President Mr. Moon Jae-in is aimed at strengthening peace on the Korean Peninsula through the expansion of dialogue and cooperation with Pyongyang. In these regards, I would like to emphasize that my regular contact and conversations with North Korean diplomats in Moscow indicate that Pyongyang pays deep interest to the election in South Korea. As is well known, North Korea officially declares that it does not care who wins in South Korea, because, according to their position, any president of the Republic of Korea will not be independent in relation with North Korea and will be a simple conductor of the US policy. However, in fact, Pyongyang is carefully studying the election campaign in South Korea and de facto wish Mr. Lee Jae-myung victory. The reason is, according to North Korean thinkers' assessments, appearance of Mr. Lee Jae-myung in the Blue House will give more chances to preserve peace and stability on the Korean Peninsula. I can also add that, to my mind, if Mr. Lee Jae-myung will win, there will be more opportunities to sign, and will be a real opportunity to sign the declaration of the end of the Korean War, which is being persistently promoted by the current President of the Republic of Korea, Mr. Moon Jae-in. In our opinion, this is a factor that deserves attention from the point of prospect of inter-Korean relations and the future of unification of Korea in the whole. In regards with Russia's approach towards Korean unification prospects, I would like to emphasize the following. Due to the core national interest, Russia is concerned with maintaining peace and security on the Korean Peninsula, friendly relations with both states on the Korean Peninsula and with a unified state. And the optimal variant of realization of this goal will be the unification of Korea. In comparison with other key interested states, Russia is more favorable towards the perspective of Korean unification, but under the condition the unification should be carried out peacefully. Such political course was confirmed recently. The Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation, Mr. Margulov, a few days ago, in the interview to the TASS agency, news agency, on January 28th, outlined if the Americans and their alliance want negotiations on the conditional unilateral disarmament of the DPRK, with an eye to the subsequent regime change in this country, no dialogue will work. If the United States returns to the policy of strategic patience of the Obama era, which was based on the expectation that the sanctions pressure would force the DPRK to surrender, then ultimately such a course will only lead to an escalation of tension and a new round of the arms race in the region. And he continued, the only way to avoid such scenario is to move forward, but not backward, along the roadmap to strengthen trust, normalize bilateral relations, discuss security guarantees, and build a peace regime, which is provided by the both Russian-Chinese initiatives and Singapore statement between the leaders of DPRK and the United States on June 12, 2018, inter-Korean summits, resolutions and declarations. The denuclearization of the peninsula can be constructively discussed only in this context, was concluded by the Russian Deputy Foreign Minister. It's not difficult to understand that and to see that such ideas fully correspond to Russia's support of the idea of peaceful unification of Korea. Thank you very much. Tadani kamsahamnida.